Greetings and welcome to GRC33 Flash for Web Navigation from Scratch video. This is video 4A, where we'll learn how to use what we've built so far in our navigation to go to different frames within a symbol. And 4B, we'll learn how to load up external SWFs into our Flash movie. So 4A is just a different way you can accomplish using the buttons to navigate to content. 4B is also an alternate way of doing it. Just depends on how you prefer to work. So let's get started with 4A. First thing we're going to do is push our actions panel aside. And we're going to look at our timeline here. And we have navigation and action script. What we need to add to this is a layer for content. So we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to call this content. And we're going to bring our content layer down below the navigation layer. And I'm, for reference, going to create a box so we can see where this content is going to be. In the past we've created a text box here, and I think that's kind of thrown some people off, so we're going to just draw a shape here. And we want this shape to have a stroke color of that light blue and a fill color of none. And again, I've selected my shape tool and changed the stroke and the fill color. So now I'm going to draw my shape just like so. And with my selection tool, I'm going to right click. Actually, I'm going to double click to make sure I get this whole shape selected. When you have an outline or a stroke on an object and you don't have the fill, if you just click on one segment of that stroke, you're only choosing the one segment there. We want to select all of the segments, so we can either drag select or we can double click on one segment and that will select all of the segments. And then we'll right click and choose convert to symbol, and we're going to call this content, and it's going to be of the type MovieClip. Alright, awesome. And now I'm going to double click on this to edit it. Now notice I clicked in the center and it didn't do anything. It unselected the symbol, and that's because you only have this stroke as the selectable part of the symbol. So I'm going to double click on the line here on the stroke, and now I am editing the content symbol. And I'm going to make a new line, new layer, sorry, call it text. And I'm going to make in that layer, with my text tool, make sure that it's static text and that the paragraph format is left justified. I'm going to draw now a text box. And notice that I started, looks like about maybe 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of there, and I'm going to stop about 1/4 inch from the edge there. And I'm going to start typing. And when I get to the end of the line, it's going to just automatically break the line for me and wrap it down below. And let's go ahead and copy some of this and make quick work of it. Yay. Actually, let's go back up here. Okay, with my selection tool, probably want to bring this down a little bit just to keep it offset away from the edge of that box. Alright, cool. Well, let's test our movie here real quick. Make sure it's still working. There's our type. Now again, our buttons aren't taking us anywhere because we only have them action scripted to trace out the target name that's being clicked. So this is essentially the first page of our content symbol. And we're going to put multiple pages on subsequent frames. So on this next frame, I'm going to select that frame, hit the F6 key, and it's going to create a new text box here. It's going to copy the contents from the previous keyframe and place them into this blank keyframe. And you'll notice that our outline, our box went away because it's only existing on frame 1. If we want to make that persistent, down here in layer 1, actually let's change the name of this layer to box, and we'll select frame 3, hit the F5 key, and that creates blank frames and allows this keyframe to be persistent across all of them. So now when I go to frame 2 and edit my text here, you can see that the box is still there. And we're going to do the same thing on frame 3. Select frame 3, F6, make a new copy, and this one we're going to just type contacts are awesome. They are. And we'll add just a little bit more text there, just enough to offset it. So now when I scroll through, I see that I've got different content in each frame. Now let's test this. And what happens? Well, it keeps going because in Flash, when you have a timeline, it's going to keep playing unless you tell it to stop. So we're going to need an action script layer here for two reasons. Number one, we need to make sure and have a stop command on each frame. Stop. F6 to make a new keyframe, and then we'll enter a stop there. Again, select the third frame, F6, new keyframe, and stop there. Now, normally when you create a new keyframe, it copies the contents from the previous keyframe into the new keyframe. Well, it does not do that with ActionScript. ActionScript does not automatically get copied into a new keyframe when you create it in the same layer. It just creates a blank keyframe if there's no content on the stage. That's just how Flash works, and that's probably beneficial because there's some ActionScript that you don't want to replicate across multiple frames. So in this case, we just had to manually enter stop in each frame. Okay, so moving the Actions panel away, and now when I test my movie, we're stuck here on this first page, which is what we want. That's what we would expect to happen because of that stop action on that first frame. But again, nothing's happening with our buttons yet because we need them to go to something. What we ideally want to do is we want to click on the button and have the playhead go within this symbol here to the appropriate frame and stop there. Now, right now these frames are a bit vague because there's no name on them. Now I know frame 1's most likely going to be home, this one's going to be about us, and the third one's going to be contact, but Flash doesn't know that. So what I have to do is give each frame a frame label. Very similar to how we give a stage object an instance name, you can give a frame a label as well. It's not the same as an instance name, but it's a string, and it allows Flash allows you to go to and stop or play from a particular named frame. So we're going to give this frame label a name of home, and we're going to call it _BTN. Now the reason for that, I'm sorry, forgive me for that. No, we're going to call it HOME, uppercase home. And this frame label, so I selected frame 2, and I'm going to give this frame label about us, and this frame label is going to be contact us. Alright, so we're done with this content symbol, so we're going to go back to the main timeline, to our action script, and instead of tracing now, we're going to tell Flash to go to and stop on that named frame. So we know that the parent name here is going to return this name here for whichever button that's clicked. It's going to return this guy right here. Button title is the text, but when you click within, because of this event listener, when you click within a button, it's actually clicking on the button object. And so when we grab the parent symbol of that button object, it has an instance name of home button, about button, and contact button. But we didn't give our frame labels that same name. What we did is we gave our frame labels these string names. And so what we want to do is, instead of accessing the parent name, we want to access the parent button title.text. Make sure you spelled go to and stop correctly. It's A-N-D, not A-D-N. It should be blue. So when we test this, when we click on a button, I know it's not going to work because I've already tested it out. And the error it's giving me is frame label contact us is not found. Why is it not found? Well, it's not found because frame label named home or about us or contact us is inside of this symbol right here. So we have to go into that symbol as well. So when we type nav dot go to and stop, we should have actually not nav. The content is in content, or is it? Did we give content a frame label? I'm sorry, a symbol name. Instance name. No, we did not. So I need to select my content symbol right here. And let's give it an instance name of content. Sorry about that. So back on our timeline here. There's our content symbol. And we go into the content symbol and there's our 3 frames. Go back to the main timeline. Bring our action script back in. Select the action script layer. You guys probably already saw that coming, didn't you? So now let's give it a try. And there it is. It works. Perfect. Awesome. And that concludes this video.